DMs, I cringe. I watch. I'm like, is it done? Instagram had just become a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no one using it the right way.
Yeah, can you just grab it and I'll turn it on silent? I'm like, speaking of which, wait a second. I'm like, is that my phone? I thought I put it on silent.
No.
Because if it's my mom, then
you have to answer
Yeah,
it.
here, I'll give this to you. That is the intro.
That is the intro. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. And I'm actually pretty excited because we're matching.
Smart.
I didn't notice if you noticed that.
I
saw your cuff picture in your Instagram. I'm like, oh, he's wearing beige. I'm changing my outfit.
Oh. What were you wearing earlier?
Legitimately black. And I was like, no, that will be too boring. But now we're bright and
There we go.
sunny. I love it. Thank you for joining. You are in the vault with Kate Broddick and the Kate Broddick team and my extremely special guest, who I have to say, I think this is one of the most exciting podcast guests that I have to date. The James in the City out of the agency in Toronto.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. And I actually just got the connection of in the vault. We're actually in a vault.
Yeah, you are in a vault with the vault door.
Yeah, I didn't get it. And then I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, and now it makes sense.
No, it does make sense. That's right. And I'm so excited to have you here. One, because we met first at the Queen Bee event last year in person.
Yes.
But I was following you on Instagram. And I think what I love most about you is fashion, which I'm hugely into, the fitness. I've loved the fitness over the last year, and you're just really authentic. And I think you bring something more than the solds and the just purchased and the just listed, that really boring realtor page.
Yeah.
So your Instagram to me is a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you. I'm glad I can entertain you.
You do entertain me, actually. And every time I'm like, where's my application for being best friend? Because I love this guy.
Yes, you have DM'd I think like 100 times.
Yes, I have. I'm like, I need to be in this guy's life and he needs to be in mine.
Yes.
But before we get started, and we're going to talk about your keys to success, we're going to talk about something that you focused too much on in your early career that you wish you wouldn't have. And then we have some tips and tricks and some questions from our previous guest and then also to our next guest that we're going to ask you.
Okay.
So let us know a little bit about you. How'd you get into real estate? How long have you been? What's your journey like?
Oh my God. Okay, so I got into real estate 11 years ago.
Yeah.
I am overdue for Botox. Do not look too closely.
Me too.
11 years ago. And it just started because like I loved the housing industry. So from like a kid, I would go to open houses and I started designing. Like my mom would always buy me Lego sets and like mini timber blocks and I would build houses. So I got into real estate with the intention of being a developer.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't realize how expensive it actually is to become a developer. Because I came from the fashion world. So I was a stylist and a personal shopper. I worked in visual merchandising and retail management. Like that was my previous life.
Wow.
And I was going to build a fashion collection. Like I already had 6 sample pieces ready to go into production.
Wow.
And then my parents divorced and I'm like, there goes my money. Thanks, Mom. Like, thanks,
My
Mommy.
hedge fund, where'd it go?
Right? Yeah, literally. And I'm like, you know what? I'll go into real estate. I'll be a developer. Like everyone's doing it. Like it'll be great. I have such a great eye. No.
No.
Decided with how much it cost. And at, 20-something years old, who's
Yeah.
going to give a young 20-year-old kid a $4 million startup loan to build his first house? No one. So I pitched my grandfather, and he's like, no.
No.
I'm like, cool, I'll be an agent.
Yeah, that's the
So
next thing
I
down.
open doors for a living, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. And so you were in Toronto the whole time. Is that where you're from?
So I was born and raised in Richmond Hill,
Okay.
which is like 6 minutes of Toronto, really.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's like across the street kind of thing. So I spent my whole life in Toronto, playing sports in Toronto. All my friends were in Toronto. So Toronto's a natural fit for me to start my real estate journey, but I actually started in Richmond Hill in the neighborhood that I grew up in, which is kind of like, they call it the Rosedale of the North. It was like old McMansions, like 80s, 90s McMansions, like 6,000, 7,000 square foot homes.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to farm that pocket because I'm like, I grew up here, everyone knows my family. But from the time that my parents divorced, I moved into the city, took a couple years off from the Richmond Hill suburban life. And when I started my career, all my friends had moved out. All their parents had moved out. And a new wave of people who had moved in. And I'm like, great, I know no one.
Yeah. No more
So,
connections.
No more connections. So I started, my first real estate coach was like, why don't you go down to the city and be the gay realtor? I'm like, I will not. Like, that's so tacky. I'm not using my sexuality as, a marketing ploy.
Yeah. And I guess I'm kind of surprised that a coach would tell you to do that at the beginning.
I think they came from a good place.
The intention was there.
Yeah, but it just was not, it wasn't well received on my side.
Yeah.
At the time, like, I was on a TV show about sexuality. I was on a show called One Girl, Five Gays, which is very sexual.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to play into that stereotype of like the young gay Toronto realtor talking about.
And it's kind of, not, I don't want to say condescending to yourself, but in a way it is. It's like, I'm more than that.
Yeah.
And you are more than that. We're all more than that. That's not what I see. It's not what I see on social media.
Yeah.
But has that been something that you faced like throughout your career?
I mean, I've had a lot of hate being gay.
Really?
Yeah, I talked about it just the other day on my Instagram. It was an old post that I reshared from TikTok from last year, but I had a client who fired me because I mentioned the word, because I was with my ex at the time, and I mentioned about my ex doing the window coverings in the house of this house that we toured.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, my partner designed these blinds and these curtains and whatever. And he's like, your partner? I'm like, yeah, my partner. He's like, oh, like a male partner? I'm like,
that's
yes.
normally what you call them, yes.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, well, he wasn't really comfortable. He's like, I think this relationship is over. And he fired me because of that. And I'm like, this was, I think, 2013, 2014. I'm like, really? You're that homophobic?
Wow.
Like, what? I'm going to shake your hand. You're going to get a disease. You're going to catch the gay from shaking my hand. Like,
catch the gay. I can't even handle it.
Like, you're going to sign a contract with my pen. You're going to start speaking in rainbows. Like, come on, dude.
I love you. And I love how real you are about this.
Here's the thing, Kate. I just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm so sick and tired of people trying to be politically correct, and I just say what's on my mind. If I offend someone, whatever. But if you're offended, that's a you problem.
It is a you problem.
Yeah.
And I love that because more people need to feel that way. We don't need to be targeting hate or creating like animosity between people, but why can't we just say what's real?
Right.
Like it makes everyone feel a lot better.
Oh, I know.
And we're all thinking it.
I know.
Well, at least I am.
I just say it.
Yeah.
But I started going down to the city and making videos on a BlackBerry. That's how old I am. Like on a
Wow.
BlackBerry. You remember how good that quality was?
I do. I also
Right?
remember the keyboards, and they used to drive me crazy because I always had fake nails.
Okay, fair. That's how I used to learn how to text and drive, because texting in math class. But I would do my videos on a BlackBerry, and it was like, hey guys, it's James, I'm back in the city. I would just start showcasing like starter condos. And at the time, you can get a one-bedroom condo for like $275,000, $300,000 young in Eglinton. Now they're like $6 and change.
Yeah.
But the James just kind of grew out of that, because it was like, you know, hey guys, James in the city again. And then James in the city just grew, and it became my identity.
And it really is, and we were just talking about this because I think what, I had to ask you how to pronounce your last name because I was so fixated on in the city.
Right.
That it's such a classic example of perfect branding.
Thank you.
Because it really is, it's catchy, it is easy to remember, and paints such a beautiful picture of what you do. You sell in the city.
Well, and that's exactly it, because like a lot of realtors focus on Kate Broddick Realtor. Like, that's my brand. That's not your brand.
No, it's not.
Like, that is your name and your profession. That's not a brand.
Yeah.
Right? Not that I'm calling you out, just like your name was on top of my mind. But, like,
no, of course.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you, though.
And that's what realtors, they get stuck on that. And, you know, some of the best brands out there have always been ones that you can sell moving forward. Like,
Yes.
you know, let's say you were selling Norfolk County, right? If you found a way to make a little more cash to sell Norfolk County, you would cash out of that at some point and sell your book of business
Yes.
for $500,000.
That's right.
And you can use that money to go on a shopping trip.
And where everyone else is focusing on color schemes and fonts to like build that logo,
oh my God,
you're
yeah.
actually building a name.
Yeah. Like, no one cares about your logo.
No one gives a shit about your logo.
Some of the simplest logos, like the Nike Swoop, the McDonald's M, like...
Yes, Apple.
Like, yeah. Like, a child can do that.
Yep.
And yet we focus on, I need a house in my logo and I need the right color. Who gives a shit, girl?
Yeah,
Like, come on.
So that's how it started then. Was
That's how
like,
it started.
hi, this is James and I'm back in the city.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. It's just, it worked. And it's to the point now where, like, nobody knows my last... I'm like, Cher. No one knows my last name.
Nobody. Well, I was like, I know how to spell it, but I didn't want to enunciate it improperly because that's annoying. I get called Broddick all the time, and it drives me crazy.
How was it?
No, you said Broddick.
Okay.
You're good. No, we're still on good terms.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, so I mean, I guess the point of that is that like your branding has become so well known in the real estate community that it's, you know, as soon as I hear James in the city, I know fashion, fitness. I know that you're in the city in Toronto. I know that you're selling real estate, and I know that you're bringing such a different vibe, which is really high energy, which I really love, because when I think of real estate, sometimes I think of mundane, boring, and repetitive.
Oh my God. I think of like brown pleated pants and like bad penny loafers from like the 80s. Like something that my accountant would wear.
Yes, and you know what? That's what I love too, because you're such a fashion statement. It's like, it's eye-catching, it's aesthetically pleasing. And I love that.
Thank you.
I really do.
Well, that's kind of why I build my social media different than everybody else. 'Cause everyone's so focused on just listed, just sold. Whereas I'm providing you information. I'm giving you insight into the market and, what is a BRA?
Yes.
And, you can't make a right turn on a certain street between hours of 4 and 6. But I do it with myself as the image first and foremost, wearing something completely stupid, like a hot pink leather jacket.
I love it.
Because you're gonna be scrolling through and pause, like, what is James wearing now?
Clickbait.
Yes.
I love it.
I am like OnlyFans, pre-OnlyFans, just with clothes on.
Yeah. And totally PG-13. I'd subscribe. And I love the fitness photos. Those are awesome. And that's another thing.
Yeah.
I love that because
Thank
I'm
you.
hugely into fitness. Health and fitness is a big part of my life. And I've watched your journey and damn.
Thank you.
Looking good.
Thank you. You know what? It was nice to get back to who I was pre-real estate.
Yeah.
And I'm still like overweight from what I was pre-real estate. Because I was very fit my whole life. I played sports my whole life.
Yeah.
Got into real estate, still remained a level of fitness, but then 2015, 16, 17, I had a series of unfortunate events in my life.
Yeah.
And I just got really ill, really depressed, and just didn't focus on health and fitness. I turned to food for comfort.
Yeah.
And I became this unrecognizable human.
Yeah.
And, it took some time to rebuild. And then, of course, we all know what happened in 2020. I'm not going to say the word.
No, we don't use that word.
No. And then last year, my personal life had changed. And I was going through a separation. And I'm like, you know what? Let's get fit and healthy again. And I went from fit and healthy to, like, sexy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
And you know what? Speaking of that, it actually resonates with a post that you put out. I can't remember if it was Bell Let's Talk, where you acknowledged mental health and the periods of your time to which you went through it.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that I really love about your social platform is you're so real and relatable. And it's not easy to put yourself out there because at the end of the day, most people share the shiny success stories. They don't share the hardships or the trials that have become success stories.
Oh, yeah.
And I really appreciated that.
Thank you. Yeah, that photo that I put up Let's Talk Day, those were 2 pictures I took of myself within 30 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
One where I'm driving to my condo and having a literal mental breakdown.
Yeah.
And one where I was like, hop in the shower, clean myself up, and I'm like, this is really great lighting. Right?
Yeah, so maybe a selfie.
Yeah, but it was like, they were literally 30 minutes apart. And people have this notion of what mental health looks like, and I am the face of mental health.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be, a certain image to have mental health issues. Like, I still struggle with mental health issues.
Yeah.
I'm the world's worst overthinker. I create the world's worst scenarios in my head at all times. It's horrific, but that's just how my brain works.
Yeah, but you're able to get yourself into a mindset that's able to overcome that.
Yeah.
And has fitness helped you with that?
Hugely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with me.
Yeah. Like, I will run to the gym if I'm having a moment. I will run to the gym and lift something heavy.
That's exactly what I do. And you know what? It's an outlet. And I found that. And I think to some degree, depending on the season of your life, everybody suffers from some kind of mental health illness, whether it's situational or it's something that's chronic.
Yep.
It's being able to find those healthy lifestyle choices that help you get through those. And I really appreciated that. And that stood out to me because it was so real and so raw. And I think people need to see more of that, right? They need to know that they're not alone in those things. And so once again, I commend you on your social presence because it's incredibly authentic. So I know you're not just putting it out there for people to see. You're putting it out there because that is exactly who you are.
Yeah.
So now we got to know you just a little bit. I am really excited because it's such a diversity that we've had on this podcast with people's successes. They're not the same like, oh, I did lead gen and I spent like 3 hours at my desk and I cold called. I really want to know what makes James in the City successful. What were those moments in your career where you focused on certain tasks or certain ideas or creative branding like you have that really catapulted your career? And I'd like to hear 3 of them. We'll go one at a time.
Yeah, so I started my career with cold calling.
Yeah, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's shocking to me.
I know. And I'm a millennial. Like, when my phone rings, I cringe. I watch. I'm like, is it done? Is it? Are
Googling the number to see who it is?
Not even. I'm just like, are you done? Like, I watch my watch. I'm like, reject. I cringe.
Yeah.
I answered the phone for 3 people. My mother, my partner, and my office. And that is it. Like, if anyone else calls me, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why are you calling me? It really,
text them, what do you want?
Yeah. And like, there's times where I'll be like, I'm in an appointment, just text me. And I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'm sun tanning. Like, just don't bother me. Just text me. I respond much faster. But I started cold calling. And I hated it. But I was good at it. To the point where other agents in my office.
Really?
I'm talking big teams. I'm talking like $3-4 million earners were calling me like, can you cold call for me? And we'll pay you. Like, no. I'm not going to build your business.
Wow.
And I hated it so much. I'm like, what can I do to get in front of a larger audience quickly? Instagram had just become a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no one using it the right way. So no one's really using social media as a thing. They were using Facebook,
Yep.
right? But again, it was the typical just listed, just sold Facebook ads. And I'm like, how can I do this the right way? And how can I target my demographic? Because no one who is in their, I was 21, no one in their 40s, 50s, and 60s is going to trust this 21-year-old kid who's got a baby face starting their career.
Yeah.
So let me target my group of friends. They're not going to want to open handwritten notes in the mail.
No.
What's this, right? So I got on Instagram, and that's how I started building those videos. And that's how I started building all that content. And it
Really?
skyrocketed. And my brand went from like 0 to like 5,000 pretty quickly, and then from 5 to 10 pretty quickly. And I've been hovering around 17,000 the last couple of years. But
Yeah.
the following grew like crazy. But I kept adapting with every update of Instagram, whether it was IGTV and then Reels and then Stories and maps and guides and whatever else. But when TikTok became a thing in I started in 2019 before
The whole boom thing and
Yeah.
the word we do not speak of.
Thank you. I was
Yeah.
like, how do I phrase it the right? I was going to say,
Yeah.
and then when that happened, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, James, like, there's no events to go to because I'm very events driven. I go
Yes.
like 11 events a week.
And I love. Oh my God! Are you tired?
Yes. Yes. Like I drove down here with like collagen eye patches. Like
I literally love you.
yeah, like it's a lot. There's a lot that goes on in this body. But I change my car, sleep in my car, eat in my car. Like I live in that vehicle.
Yes.
And so I go to a lot of events, but during that time there were no events.
Yeah.
And my photographer who would follow me around to take photos of me was like, I'm not comfortable being out in public shooting you right now because of what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. Like I could do the whole like tripod and set it up kind of thing, but then I look weird. I'm like that typical like influencer in the wild shooting myself.
Yeah.
So I got on TikTok and I just started filming videos like crazy. And people were like, hold on, wait a minute, this is something different. Because no one was doing what I was doing. Because I was the first one using social media.
Because that's really when it boomed, was in around 2020.
Well, 2021 is when most of the realtors got on TikTok. I was doing it 2019, 2020. So even before everybody
the pioneer.
got on. And listen, like I'm the word influence is kind of right. Like
I love that.
And I don't like to boost my own horn. I really don't. But it's other agents who say it to me like I've paved the way for agents on social media.
Yes,
and
I love it.
I take a lot of the heat for hate on social media, and they have it easy. Because they can talk about things like, oh yeah, well James said that, so like F James, but like applause to you.
Yeah. Good job.
Great, thank you. So I got on it early and just kept going at it, and I started exposing things in the market.
Yeah.
And I started targeting certain neighborhoods and buildings. I'm like, hey, listen, like this pocket you should not be buying in because it's built by so and so, or this building is Airbnb, and then the chair girl and all those things that were happening with it. And it just gave me this like voice of authority in Toronto.
And I love it because social media is such a underutilized tool in the fact that most realtors are on it, but they're not using it the way it should be.
If you're not posting 2 to 3 times a day on your social media platform, get off it.
Or your stories.
Or your stories. You're just a ghost at that point.
That's right. And people don't, it's great to show your business. I mean, that shows you're productive.
Right.
But do people really want to tune in to see your sold post? No, they don't. They want to tune in to see what makes you stand out. Fitness, events, fashion, and even like actually one thing I love is when you start calling things out, and it's quite funny. The slapstick humor is amazing. It's so dry. It's hilarious.
Oh, just wait until my next couple posts. There's a few that I like to do them when I'm driving. So I have like a mount in my car.
Yes.
I will just go on a rant and I will film, just hit the camera button and just start recording and then cut it up when I'm done. But it's like sometimes someone else takes over me and I start speaking and I black out. I have no idea what I say half the time.
Do you have an alter ego name?
I'm going to call him Chad.
Oh my God, Chad's the perfect name. Oh my God. Yeah. Chad in the rural spot, not Chad in the city.
No,
He's
no.
like farmer.
Oh,
Hicktown.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chad's a bro.
Yeah, Chad's a bro.
Backwards hat and like pool slides.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's like, and I go on these rants, but it's those rants that get me clients. Like I landed a developer who had $40 million worth of inventory for me to sell for him, and he's like, the only reason why I want you is because you're a shark. And he's like, you say what's on your mind. Because every other realtor that I've hired is like, oh, you're this and that. He's like, no, you say it. Like you come out of the womb swinging. I'm like, yeah, like. If I'm not insulting someone, I'm not doing my job right.
Oh my God, I love it.
I'm not here to appease people.
Well, you're real.
That's exactly it.
And you're also saying what most people are thinking and just don't have the guts to say it.
I'll say it.
And I love it.
I'm a walking HR violation. I will say it.
So, funny offside story, for Christmas, I actually gave all of my girls, like, they were affirmation journals, but they were like, I wonder if this will pass through HR. Because that's true. And my girls and Oz, I now have a guy on my team. They do. We say what we have to feel. We when it needs to be said, it's said.
Yeah.
Like, why are we so offended?
Well, that's exactly it, right?
So offended.
Like, I will say things, and sometimes, like, I rub people the wrong way. And even with my partner, I'll say to him, like, I'm not trying to overstep here, or, like, roughly, but open your eyes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what you need to hear.
I
and
love
then he'll
it.
be like, yeah, I know. And I'm like,
Yeah, I love it. So then you're, I guess, influencing the way through social media, which I would 100% agree with. And I love what you're doing. And I love that you put out the videos that you do. And I really do love your stories. I love the stories are like snapshots of the day in the life. And I've often said, because I've had people say to me, like, do you have a camera that follows around with you all day long? And I love it.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting.
Yeah.
And you're interesting. So why do we not want to see what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I feel. Even as a consumer, even if you're not ready to buy or sell now, it's someone to talk about. So even if you haven't been used by a particular set of people watching your stories, if your name comes up in a room and you're not there, you hope that they would mention it, right?
100%.
And that's the way I look at social media. So then if that's your first kind of key to success, what would you say another one would be? Maybe to new realtors as well, because let's be honest, a lot of them are coming out as content creators, but are they really selling? So what would you say to them?
I would just say be authentic.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel a lot of people are trying to be the next Ryan Serhant or Frederick Eklund or James in the City for that matter.
Yeah,
like, just be yourself.
Yes.
Because there's only one Frederick Eklund, there's only one James, there's only one Kate Broddick.
Yeah.
There's you can't emulate someone else. As much as you can aspire to be like Kate,
Yeah.
there's only one Kate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
and it comes across as fake and phony.
It does, and you can tell. And then it's funny because, like, my clients will send me things like, oh my God, they're trying to be you. And I'm like, let them.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I'm flattered.
Yeah. But it's just be authentic. That's one thing I say. Just be your authentic self always and always. I say that line all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Just like, whatever you do in life, be authentic or just be you.
Yeah.
Always, but in all ways.
Yeah.
So on camera, off camera, in front of people, outside of people, at home, whatever you're doing, just be authentic.
I love that. Be you always in all ways.
Exactly.
That's right. Like take the masks off.
Yeah.
Who cares? Just be yourself. And you know what? A lot of people feel like, well, if I'm this way, people aren't going to like me. But if you're another way, people aren't going to like you anyway.
But here's the thing. You don't need to be liked by everybody.
No, and it's not really your problem if they don't like you.
Exactly. Like, do you think everybody in Toronto likes me? No. I'm like the most hated realtor. That's why my back hurts from carrying the weight of being the most hated realtor. That's why my chiropractor makes so much money.
Gotta have to have that.
Yeah.
Back adjusted just to
why I
get
train my back 3 days a week. I need those broad shoulders,
Yeah,
girl.
that's right. I love it. And it's so funny because you know what? When you come out with a strong personality, and you do have a strong personality, but I don't find that it's crass. I just find that you're who you are. You can tell that you don't have any bad intentions with it.
Yeah.
You're just like, hey, I'm here to talk real. And I've actually said this on a podcast on Meeting Gold. If you love somebody, you have to tell them what's on your mind, or else it's not love. Right? So if you respect somebody, and that's what love is, it's respect, you're going to say what's on your mind. How they choose to receive that information is really on them, right?
Yeah. Like, they might come across a little offended when you say it up front.
Yeah.
And then they sit back like, oh, you know, this person actually does love me or respect me enough to say something.
Yes.
And then once they've had a chance to digest it, they're like, yeah, okay, I get where they're coming from.
Yeah. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having that conversation.
Yeah.
So then what would you say your third key to success would be?
Oh, God, girl, I don't know. My shoes. I don't know. No, but it's like, I don't
really
know.
do like your shoes,
oh,
though.
Thank you. Don't look at the bottom. Like, there are Louboutins, they're like shredded.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's because you wear them.
I know.
You have events to go to, 11 a week.
I have 3 today.
Oh my goodness.
But I honestly, I don't really have anything else other than being authentic and social media. Those are the two, those are my 2 big keys to success. It's just, I think authenticity is my first one.
I would agree.
Without being authentic, like, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, social media helped me grow, but my authenticity is what makes me successful.
And your social media is what allowed you to showcase your authenticity.
Yeah, but then within authenticity, there's also, like, being humble and being charitable and things like that. So it's all part of being authentic. So I can go on and on about, you know, other pillars and being, so here's be charitable, be humble, be this, but that's all at the end of the day.
How do you get your leads?
OnlyFans.
Do you You know what? I'm creating an OnlyFans. I get lots of comments on my feed, so I was thinking about actually making a page on my feed.
Feedfinder.com.
You're like, actually, I'll hook you up.
No, honestly, my leads are all social media.
Really? See, I get a lot too.
So my business is new. I don't get a lot of repeat and referral because of my age bracket. My repeat referral clients are my second, third, fourth time homeowners.
Yes.
But all my new business is first time buyers, and they're all social media. So
Really?
my average price point, even though I sell everything, my average price point is about $650.
Yeah.
Right? Which for
That'd be
Toronto is not a
first-time
lot. Because it's
No.
a condo.
Condos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all
Lots of
first time
condos.
buyers. So I think 2021, I did 40 first time buyers,
Wow.
all from TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is absolutely incredible.
90% of my business used to come from Instagram. I think it's now like 95% from TikTok.
Okay, you know what, Jamie? We need to get on TikTok. Do you do dancing moves or you just do videos?
I honestly, I rant. I go in these rants and I just go
I
off.
love it.
Every so often there's something fun and stupid, but it all comes back to being authentic. So I will talk about certain things. And,
Yeah.
you know, I've talked about my eating disorder. I've talked about my struggle with cocaine. I've
Yeah.
talked about, you know, how I was raised. I talk about, you know, my current relationship that I'm in now. Like, obviously, I keep him very private for his own privacy. He didn't sign up for my shit. Right?
Yeah.
But I keep him a little bit more private, and he makes his appearance every so often when he needs to.
I'm gonna have to get on TikTok and find this out now.
Girl, I'll show you when we're done. But that's what keeps me real and authentic. That's what people want.
Yeah, they do.
Because they don't want the real that's 24/7.
No.
Right? They want the guy that has a life, a brand, a personality. You know, my clients will call me like, hey, listen, I know it's 6 o'clock and I know you're probably having dinner. I'm like, I eat in my car. What's going on?
Yeah.
Right.
But that's also because you're well-rounded and fulfilled.
Yeah.
Because those who are working 24/7 in the grind and have no time for personal life, no time for loved ones, no time for fun, they're the ones that are miserable.
Yeah.
So they're not servicing their clients because they hate their life.
Absolutely.
But that's what realtors don't understand.
Like, I have a good work-life balance. I work around the clock. Like,
Yeah.
I will still take my 90 minutes at the gym.
Yeah.
I'll have my phone with me, my Apple Watch is on, my laptop's in my bag in my locker. If I need to stop my workout for whatever reason, I will run to my locker, fire something off, and get back to it.
Wow.
But I still try to keep that 90 minutes to myself, but I'm still checking up on my phone. I'm not disappearing for that 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm there.
Doing what you need to do for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what helps drive your business because you're happy and fulfilled.
Right.
And that's what a lot of realtors lose.
Absolutely.
And that's why they're so miserable.
110%.
There's a lot of miserable realtors.
Girl, do not get me started.
I can only imagine what the Toronto market's like. Do you think it's as cutthroat as these small towns?
I want to say so here's the thing, like, everybody wants to be a Toronto realtor. But the ones that, well, maybe not you, but like the ones that are from like the GTA, I'm sorry, Brampton, Vaughan, Mississauga, Markham, Oakville, that's not Toronto.
No.
Like, if you're a Toronto realtor, you are like, you live in Toronto, you work Toronto, you play Toronto, you have an M postal code.
Yeah.
You are not from the 905.
No, you're
Plain
a
and simple.
416.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So don't at me
Yeah,
from your Brampton brokerage that you're a Toronto realtor. So no.
Yes.
That's where it gets cutthroat. It's the ones from the suburbs that want to be Toronto agents.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? I feel like that's such a, well, it's like anything. It's such a niche market. How can you possibly, and I've said this to lots of realtors from Toronto, I feel like that condo market is just so intense. You need to know your data.
Yeah.
You need to know your product knowledge because condos itself is just an entirely different niche market.
Oh my God. Like, I get calls from agents all across the province where, like, you know, I have a client looking in Toronto. I'm like, great, referral.
Yes.
So I'm going to be driving down next Saturday. Can you tell me the best buildings to show them? I'm like, take them to 12 York Street. And I will not say anything else. Ice condos.
Oh my God.
Which I'm sure you're aware of.
Yes.
So I will take them to 12 York.
Why wouldn't they want to see? That's the thing. And I don't know about your policy, but for me, if I do not know this area, I am not touching it with a 10-foot pole unless it's a really good family member who literally just won't get off my back.
Yeah, like I was saying to you before we started this podcast that I had a client in Tillsonburg last year.
Yes.
Right, but I have a couple like estate clients here and there.
Yes.
Who, you know, they're buying acreage of farmhouses, whatever. So I will collaborate with a local realtor.
Yeah.
And I will give them a referral, but I will be present on the transaction. So they'll take the 20%.
Because they want your relationship.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm not going to drive here to do a deal because I'm going to be calling you.
And I wouldn't be driving to Toronto to do a condo when I'd be looking around the buildings. Like, I don't even know how to enter these buildings. Where do I park?
Right.
What do I do?
Yeah.
Like, I that to me is so overwhelming and it's not good for the client.
No.
Huh.
At the end of the day, it's about the client, not you. But most realtors are so focused on their income
Yeah.
and making that full 2.5% and making sure that they crack their President's Gold Club every year.
The one-liners are on point today, right from the top.
And I'm
James
off
in the
today,
city.
too. And I'm off today.
You're off today.
Like, I am, you know what it is? It's the fresh air. It is the fresh
you're
air
coming out of the smog in Toronto.
I know, there's no smog, there's no pigeons, there's no needles on the ground. I'm like, where am I at, girl?
There's no pigeons, so we just have wild turkeys.
Like, actually?
Yes.
If I go, there's one by my car, I will cry. I will freak out. I don't do nature.
Oh my God.
Like, this is as close to nature as I get. This damn fake plant beside me.
I was just...
This plant from HomeSense.
I can't even handle it. Oh my God. All right, center myself here, because we want to know.
Yes.
What did you spend too much time focusing on in your early career that you wish you had not?
Cold calling.
Yeah. But were you successful with it, though?
I was. I got a lot of leads my first 2 years in the business that turned out to be year 3, year 4, year 5 business.
Business, yeah.
So I equate a lot of my early success to that, but I hated it. But it made me a tougher agent.
Yeah, but there's got to be an act for that, because most people who cold call are doing it because either their team lead is telling them or their brokerage is telling them, and they're not really putting everything into it. They're not really working the cold calls.
Right.
What would you say that would have set you apart from that? Because honestly, I've never done it.
You know, I looked for the no's.
Oh.
Where a lot of people are looking for the yeses, I was looking for the no's. Because every no that I got meant that there was one more yes I could find.
Did you want to know something? All the top agents that we've had on here have said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
That is incredible. I love that.
I love rejection. Not in my personal life. Like, I hate being rejected on a date. Like, don't. Because you're the one, not me.
Yeah.
You're not rejecting me.
Yeah.
You're not shutting me down.
Yeah.
But in business, I love rejection. I love losing listing appointments.
Wow.
Because it makes me a tougher agent. Like, why did I lose it? So I will call every client that I've lost a listing appointment. Why did I lose a listing? 9 times out of 10, it comes down to you don't have a big team.
Really?
Yes.
That's shocking to me.
I know. And this is usually when you get down to like the $3-4 million client.
Yeah.
Right? And again, at that price point in certain neighborhoods, you're dealing with agents who have been around for 20 years.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Fine. I get it.
Yeah.
But I hardly ever lose a listing appointment.
But doesn't it make you look intrinsically and fire you up to do even better the next time?
110%.
Yeah, that's
so I'm
exactly
like,
how
you know
I feel.
what? I'm going to wait till I listen to expire, then you're going to call me back, then I'm going to sell it.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
love
happened
that though. It puts that fire back in you for the hunt.
Yeah.
Because it's easy. Not that, I don't want to say that I'm complacent, but I've had periods in my career where it's almost too smooth, right? You need to have a little piece of humble pie to make you look at yourself and be like, I need to reevaluate and re-strategize what I'm doing here because I need to grow.
Case in point, spring of 2022, market interest rates started to rise.
Yes.
I was in Vegas for a conference. Between like end of March to middle of April, I lost $46 million with the clients.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How'd you come back from that?
I took a few months off.
Yeah.
And I recentered myself. I figured out what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
So at one point, I'm like, you know what? I'm cashing out. I'm moving to Europe. I'm done with real estate. This is not for me. And I'm like, no, James, like, put on your big girl panties. Like, focus on what you're doing. Like, you are James in the fucking city.
Yeah.
Like, get your shit together. And I recentered myself. I restructured my systems, my programs, my marketing, and came back stronger. And now, 2023, things are doing really well. I've already got business in the pipeline for 2024 and 2025.
That's amazing.
Because I'm nurturing those relationships back from 2022 that had faltered. Some of them, they just pulled out because they were investors or they no longer needed the
And the market was coming down. It was an uncertain time.
Yeah. I mean, I had a client from New York who was like, I could spend $13 million in Toronto buying a pied-à-terre, or I could spend 20 million euros in Paris and buying 3 apartment buildings.
Yeah, so what are we going to do?
And I'm like, okay, well, I go to Paris too. Like,
yeah. No kidding.
Right?
So you remembered who you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he still keeps contact with me.
I love that.
And because he knows that I'm heading to, because we will talk every so often, and his mom will still call me. Like, she's like an old Iranian woman. She still calls me and checks in on sometimes. She's like, I'm in Toronto. Can you want to grab coffee? I'm like, absolutely, I will.
I love that.
So I texted him, I want to be in New York in a couple of months. And he's like, come to my flat. Like, if you need anything, my concierge will let you upstairs. I'm gone. He's like, I'm going to stay my fall in Europe, but you can stay in my apartment. This guy's got a Park Avenue apartment. So
New York's one of my favorite cities. I've been there almost, 17 times?
Yeah.
The only time during the time, which we will not mention, was the only time that I hadn't gone. And I something about it there, it's so such a contrast from my daily life.
Right.
It's like you walk in there and it's like there's so much to look at. Even it's almost like what they call it, sensory overload.
Right.
And I love that though, because
Yeah.
I mean, you might have got stuck behind a tractor when you were on the way here, but that was probably about
It was a horse and buggy.
I love it. So now with our last guest, it was Kenneth Toppin.
Okay.
And Kenneth was discussing his why. So one of the questions he had for you, not knowing you were our next guest, was, what is your why in real estate?
Well, that has shifted recently.
Yeah.
So my why was always just to help people, and it's still there,
Yeah.
right? But I think my why now is my family. And this family has kind of come into my life unexpectedly.
Yeah.
So I am dating someone who has a family
Yeah.
that I am now part of their life, and my why has changed.
I love that.
And the way I conduct my business has changed. The way I speak has changed. The way that I act. Not in a, like, I made myself change. Just my world has changed.
Yeah.
And I see things in a very different light now. So my why for selling real estate and building this brand and being successful has changed because now there's a family.
Do you think it's made you better?
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. He and them have made me much better and much stronger.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful story. And then he has a tip for you. So Kenneth is huge into stats and conversion rates.
Okay.
So his tip for you was to make sure you know your stats and your conversion rates. And when you touched on one of those things by saying, I can't wait for a no because I know one more no is going to lead to that yes. Do you follow your conversion rates? How many leads do you need to get in order to make that transaction?
No. And
Flat out, absolutely not.
And I will tell you why. Because
Yeah.
my conversion rate is pretty much 100%. Because I'm not seeking the business.
The business is coming to you.
Yes.
That's a huge difference.
So the only time I will track my metrics is when I'm competing for a listing, knowing that I'm the second, third, fourth realtor in.
Yes.
And I may have lost the listing. And I will always say, why? Why did I not get the listing?
Yeah.
Was it my experience? Was it I don't work the neighborhood well enough? Whereas I get, there's parts of Toronto that I do not sell in.
Yeah.
Not that I don't want to, I just don't have clients there.
Yeah,
If I'm competing for a listing on the northwest corner of Toronto, odds are I'm not going to get the listing unless it's because they want my marketing, my social media, my exposure.
Referral.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
But other than that, like my conversion rate is pretty much 100%.
I love that. A lot of people don't track their conversion rates. I mean, at the end of the day, it's that little piece of realtor, that mathematics, other than a commission check, that they just, you know what, it is what it is. We put them in a database, and if they fizzle up after following up, then that's great. But most people don't. Well, most people that I haven't spoken to, but Kenneth was a huge, he's obviously created that app that he has that tracks conversion, which is very interesting if you ever wanted to. It's the Harvest app.
Okay.
If you ever wanted to check it out. So then for our next guest.
Okay.
What question would you have for them?
Oh, okay. Putting me on the spot. I mean, I should have read the question you sent me because I clearly I don't.
Actually, I prefer that you didn't.
So whenever I do a podcast, I never read.
I love it.
I just want a natural flowing conversation.
Yes, that's right.
So if I was to ask your next guest one question,
He asked you, what is your why?
so I want to spin that question, not as what is my why, but why did they get into real estate? Because I feel like people always get into it for the wrong reasons. So why did your next guest get into real estate?
Okay, and what's your tip for them?
My tip for them is more of a challenge than a tip. It's to make their next 5 social media posts less about buys and sales.
Okay, put them as a center.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a challenge and we're going to do a question. I like your question because it seems so simple. Why'd you get into real estate? But most people actually can't even answer that.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Well, it was easy.
Yeah.
Well, I need to say thank you so much. Not only did my face now hurts from laughing, but I admire you. I admire you. I think you're super professional. I think you're bringing something to the table that's truly authentic in our industry. I think you're making it exciting. I think we need to do it like a Selling Sunset Toronto version, and you need to be in it, and I would watch it.
All I can say is just wait.
I need to appear in this, and I need to be on your arm. And we need to have matching clothes. So can you let our viewers know where to find you, the best way to contact you, probably your Instagram and TikTok page?
Yeah, I mean, don't ever call me. TikTok at James in the City and Instagram at THE James in the City.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We will be filming our next podcast for August. James will be for July, and we are just so happy that you got to be here. So please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube for more episodes.